classic. There's no cars behind me too. Alright, so right here, get it. We got the West Coast Dance Theater. Now this is where Jim Morrison learned all the Indian dance moves that he would do on stage. No, I'm kidding. No, that's new, man. There's no way. Picture him running up and down these streets, being crazy like a little 13-year-old buddy back there. Where's that? Get this tree right here. Look at this. Over here.
No, that's old.
No, you know that tree was here when Jim was here, man. Come on. Right next door to him, too. That is a giant tree. What is that? Is that like a redwood or some shit? What is that?
No, it's probably. It's red.
Alright. Hey. Hi there, hi there, everybody. Come on, dude.
What? God damn it.
I'm Tim. Welcome back to the Pinky Joe Show. We are here in Alameda, California. I'm going to keep following you. You can't escape, Bubby. We're here in Alameda, California.
Fine.
In 1957,
Read something, that's all.
Jim Morrison, at the same age as this kid right here, little Bub Morrison, who was 13 years old when he moved. His father, George Morrison, was in the Navy and was located here in Alameda, California, right across the
Bay Bridge.
The Bay Bridge to San Francisco. Oakland. No, I'm not going to give you a geography lesson. But we are right here at 1717 Alameda. And right here behind you is the house that Jim Morrison was in. He was here for 2 years. Started high school here in started the 9th grade, started high school here. And yeah, we're standing right in front of his house where they lived. Y'all wanna see it? No? Yeah? Alright. One thing I want to point out though, Bub. You see that right there? That ramp? Okay, when I was 13 years old, around your age and Jim's age, me and my friend Mike Zaragoza would build ramps just like that. I can't tell you what that, it's probably like a skate ramp, but we are BMX bikers. I can't tell you all the injuries that yeah. What is that? How is that a fruit? You're a fruit. You're a fruit. Alright. Oh my God, you guys, look at that. And there it is, right there. I hope my finger is not in the way. But that is it right there, man. 1717 Alameda, here in Alameda, California. And that's where the Morrison family lived. And he had a friend here by the name of Fudd Ford, which was like his best friend. It was 1957 when the Morrisons moved into this house. And you got to see, in 1957, that's when rock and roll first hit really big. And also another thing that impacted Jim That's when Jack Kerouac's On the Road was first published, also, right when he lived right here. So you had rock and roll emerging, Kerouac's On the Road,
See?
and they said, Fudd Ford was kind of reckless, had the street smarts, and, was mischievous and all that, so he was like a perfect fit, for Jim. But yeah, this started off as a camping trip, so I had no idea. I get a wild hair, and I just kept going. And so here we are in Alameda, California. But I didn't bring my book, Friends Gathered Together, with Frank Lisiandro. And he did an interview, like a Q&A with Fudd Ford. And I wish I would have brought that, so I can have more stuff to talk to instead of just showing the house and yapping like an idiot. But I remember he said, up there, right in this round house, now that's where Fudd and Jim used to hang out. And I think Frank was asking him questions, like what kind of music, if you were listening to. They said if you were listening to anything, it was most likely Elvis, because Jim loved Elvis. But he said usually the records that they had, he was listening to spoken poetry, Kenneth Rexroth, and things like that. They would, I'll put in some pictures, but Jim read, he said of course they had a copy of On the Road, and you'll probably see in a video, I went to the City Lights bookstore, and he tells like a really cool story about how they grabbed a bus, made their way. They used to hang out at North Beach in San Francisco, and that's right where the whole Beat generation is happening, the beatniks. You had the City Lights bookstore, and there's a funny story. Fudd says that they actually went to the City Lights bookstore, and Jim went in, and there was Lawrence Ferlinghetti sitting there, right? And he told him, he's like, hey, what's up, to a young Jim Morrison, and he just kind of freaked out and took off. Was kind of embarrassed. Dude, come on. But I remember he asked him questions about his dad, and he's like, he really wasn't around, because he was at the Navy base. But he does remember when he was around that it was definitely a presence. Everyone is usually on their best behavior, except Jim. And he was definitely like a strict, like kind of an overpowering presence. And his mom was kind of like that. He said in the beatnik days, it was cool to have a pair of dirty Levi jeans. And there's Bubby just wandering for no reason. But his mom was like, would see him trying to wear the dirty jeans, and she was, like, what are you doing, man? And she'd grab the jeans and wash them, you know what I mean? Like, my boy ain't going to school and no nasty jeans and all that. So what he would do is he would get a pair of his Levi's and hide them at Fudd's house. And then he would go out, with the clean clothes, go over to Fudd's, change into the dirty jeans, and then go off to school, because that's what the beatniks did, Oh, wow, this is cool right here. And I remember also there was a kid around their age, Jim and Fudd's age, who had cancer and was really sick. And they would go over to his house. He was in a wheelchair. And they said it was right next door. But I'm not sure if it would be like over here or over here. It didn't really show an address, but they would go, and hang out with him and, cheer him up, and stuff like that. But when Jim, before he moved from here, he was only here for 2 years, is all they lived here. He died, and I'll put up the name. I completely forget his name, but I'll put the name down there. So that was something that had a really big impact on Jim. But man, you can imagine a 13-year-old Jim Morrison, right?
It's an awesome house, too, man.
But But yeah, it was right up there. That's where they hung out, listened to records, read Mad Magazine, um, read Jack Kerouac's On the Road, and were fantasizing, about, what did it say? Hitting the open road, going and drinking a beer in Mexico,
He
um,
wanted to be beatniks,
going,
characters along the road.
diddling, prostitutes in
Taste the
France.
wine and taste the beer in Mexico.
Yeah, they wanted to be beatniks, like the characters of On the Road. He says we wanted to get on the road and travel, go taste beer in Mexico, see if we could pick up women in France. Fantasies for Fudd Ford, but what turned out to be reality for Jim. Okay, so yeah, according to Fudd, Jim wasn't writing any poetry. And, except for Elvis, he wasn't listening to much rock and roll. And I guess Frank Lysander said he was afraid to ask about girls. And Fudd was like, oh yeah, he's popular with the chicks there, man. But it was back in the 50s, it was really oppressive, chicks were, just open, it wasn't the hippie, free love movement days back in the 50s, so, it wasn't like, yeah. But oh my God, I'm babbling on and on, I know. You guys have probably switched off of this by now. But that's it, man. This is the house where the Morrisons lived with Jim, uh, his little brother Andy, and his little sister Jan. And I remember also they said that he said that Jim would answer the phone, like he'd like prank, when somebody would call, it'd be like Morrison's mortuary, you stab him, we slab him. You know what I mean? And just messing around. But also I want to put in uh, when Jim moved, Fudd actually saved cartoons that he drew, and it shows off his mischievous, his humorous side like that, because I used to read a lot of Mad Magazine, so it's kind of, you can see it's definitely influenced by Mad Magazine, but there was like a little comics and pictures that he drew that Fudd saved. And I'll throw in some pictures of that right here. But that's it. God, how long have we been doing this? Let me see. It's 4 minutes. But oh my God, dude. I cannot believe this, dude. That is amazing. That house, right? Yeah. Well, he was, ended up, he was an admiral. Not at that, I don't think at the point in 1957, I don't think he had achieved admiral yet. Yeah, but he was on his way there. And as you know, he was the one who set off the Tonkin, the incident that basically started the Vietnam War. And Tonkin Bay, or I know I'm getting that wrong, but oh wow, man. All right, so also, I hope I did a good job on this, man. I was kind of all over the place, right? I probably didn't get everything, but I also want to take you guys to Alameda High, where Jim went to high school, and throw in some high school pictures. There's a picture of him on the swim team. Yes, he was a swimmer. And also, Fudd also said that they would go to the Navy base, and Jim would teeter over the edge of the swimming pool. And that's where it started, just teetering over the edge of the 9,000 building and highway. And there's also, Fudd went in, like in 1967, he went to a door show and like said he saw Jim and he was like really high, like stoned is what Fudd said, and he kind of was like, oh yeah, and hey, it's Fudd, and he was like, oh yeah, man, and he was just kind of out of it, and that was the last time I saw him. All right, one more look. Where did Bubby go? get you one more look at this. And here's the neighborhood. Now, I don't know which house would have been Fudd's. I'll just get a view of all there's 1710, 1714, 1718. I'll just get a view and see if I can look that up and see where Fudd lived. Trump lied today. There's a, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a sign over there that says, Trump lied today. Okay. Well, there she is, man. All right, let's go check out Jim's high school. Okay, and this would be downtown Alameda right here. This is pretty historical and stuff, right? You'll probably see a young Jim Morrison and Fudd dancing around downtown right there. Check this out, oh my god. Alright, so we're out here in front of Alameda High School. Bubby just took off again. But right here is where Jim would have met Fudd Ford and quickly became best friends, man. Look at this. I mean, that's some fancy book learning right there going on, right? No, that is some fancy book learning happening right there. Bubby?
I only know one story. It's kind
Oh,
of
so
significant.
yeah, so like with what Fudd said is he was, you know, Jim was a prankster. Like in Frank Luciandra's book,
Oh, yeah,
he repeatedly asked everybody at the end of the interview, everyone that he interviewed that were Jim's close friends, you know what I mean, who told the real story of how Jim really was.
He was a funny
And at the
person.
end, yeah, at the end they said, what, like if reading all the books and that horrible, horrible Doors movie, dear God, what do you think
really
people
said
have
that?
missed about Jim? And
I
every
hate that
one of them,
movie.
including Fudd Ford, said his sense of humor. He was hilarious. He was really funny, and that's what people have missed. You know, it's the whole myth. Dude, the Kilmer, do it, baby. Woo! I'm Jim. I'm Jim. Woo! And he wasn't like that. You know what I mean? When he performed on stage, they say he was like a different person from off the stage. You know. That's not how he was. They just portrayed him to be an ass in that horrible Oliver Stone movie. But they said what people missed was his sense of humor, and he was a prankster. And Bubby has a few pranks that he would pull here a lot. What was it, Bubby?
I actually only know one, but it was the really significant one. It was when he walked into class one day. This is significant, as I said. Jim walked into school, and basically he didn't even get through the door completely. He like stopped and like barely peeked through the door and told his teacher, "Hey, I'm gonna get my brain tumor removed," and walked out without telling anyone anything. And that was the last time he went to that school. I think that's what it says. That's the last time he went.
Well, he went to school for 2 years. He started high school here. I think 9th and 10th grade is when he would have went here. He didn't graduate here. He graduated out in Virginia, in Alexandria. But another joke, one day he had a string tied around, he had, I forget where it was tied around some, like a tooth or something like that, and he had it down his throat. And people are like, what's up with the string, man? Why do you have a string tied around and going into your mouth? And he was like, oh, there's a tiny little bucket attached to the string, and it's down there. And my doctor is collecting saliva to do tests on me because I have cancer. or something like that, dude. And one day he came into the classroom, and he was late, and he ran in, just running, flailing his arms around crazily, and the teacher was like, Jim, Morrison, what are you doing, man? He's like, oh, you know, I'm just chasing a bee. And he did it in a Dean Moriarty voice, like on the Road. He's like, oh, I'm just chasing a bee, and did like the hype, the hee 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 hee, which you could, if you've read On the Road, you know what I'm talking about. And so he was like, sat down, and he was cool, you know, was listening to the teacher, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just got up, jumped up on the desk, started flailing his arms around like he was still chasing the bee, and then ran out of the classroom chasing it. So he did that shit all the time, and that's what people miss, you know. They have all this like this myth and the mystical Jim Morrison, and they miss that he was just a normal guy. He was very funny, had a great sense of humor. Yeah, but this is where he went to the first 2 years of high school, right here where he met Fudd. 57, rock and roll was just hitting, Elvis just got really big, Jack Kerouac's On the Road had just been published, and Jim read that, and it was over, man. He became one of the mad ones. It's like Jack Kerouac was talking about, mad to live. You know, living every moment like it's your last, you know what I mean? You never know how long you're here, so you gotta... You gotta make it fun. Do what you want to do. Live your dreams. No regrets, man. Make it a memorable life, enough to base a movie on. That's what he said. But man, this is a... Dude, I did not know when we were coming... Like, I've seen a picture of the front of it, but I did not know it was so massive. Now, this goes all the way down... Like, this whole thing. We can ride around it, man, but... It's massive. Now, these are the old buildings. There's a lot of new buildings that were built in the back and in the sides, but just man, this is massive, right? That's what I was saying before, George. Now there's some fancy book learning going on in here, man, right? That's crazy. All right, I don't know what else to say here, man.
Says my Diane.
Oh my God! We almost got ran over by a biker. Look at that tough biker chick. Oh man, check this out, dude. Come on. So you can imagine, Bub, look, Jim Morrison, man, would have gone up these very steps. Headed into school, man. Would have walked right through them doors. You can't really see anything. Oh, man. Oh, they had the classes?
I'm wondering if they buried like time capsules down there.
Well, this is like the, Alright, right here. 57. These are graduating classes, and Jim would have been a freshman, so... So it would have been, yeah, he would have been going to school through these years, 57, 58. And then he would have moved to Alexandria, Virginia. And that's where he graduated. And then went to the University of Florida, and then transferred out to UCLA, bub. And that's when our other Doors video will pick up. You ready?
Yeah, I have a bobby pin. I
Look.
was acting like I was gonna pick lock that. It's pretty funny though.
All right, let's go. Hold on. All right, that's better. You can see it better. Oh my God. I'm all over the place with these, man. We're still learning. Maybe. All right, that's gonna do it. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see Bubby? So you know the deal. Tell him. Tell him. Tell him. Like, subscribe. My hand's in the way. We'll catch you on the flip flop.